And we are live. What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus here with my boy YoruStrix. Say what's up to
Hey,
everybody.
hey, 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 hey. It's
This
only
man should
been
be
2 weeks.
tired.
What do you mean? What? Why should I be tired? What? I don't
It's
understand.
been like your conversations, and you said it's only been how long?
I mean, I only talked about Star Wars for 5 hours prior to talking to you about it, probably for another hour at least.
Yeah, probably so. I could probably talk about it for 5 hours too, because there was a lot in the Last Jedi that I really, really liked. Um, I guess I'm on the minority saying that it wasn't a lot that I hated. Um,
I'm gonna say that it's not so much. I think I always will. Living in the days, I say things where I didn't like and hated, and there's a lot more stuff that I'm kind of disappointed they didn't dive into further, or we have to wait longer to get more answers about. But for the most part, I like the movie. I really enjoyed the movie because I feel like some of the stuff it did too much, but most of the stuff it left me being like, I don't know exactly what this Star Wars movie is gonna do, and I like that, and I don't know where Star Wars is going from here, and I feel bad for J.J. Abrams trying to write a movie after this.
I honestly, I don't. I really don't feel bad for him.
I just feel like he has a lot of room to work with, but his plot lines. This guy said, "Look, Rey's parentage, I'm gonna toss that one. Snoke, I'm gonna toss that one. Luke being a super significant port, I'm gonna toss that one.
I don't think so. But see, that's the thing. I don't think he tossed that. And
I think he tossed it in the traditional sense. I think the one plot line that he needed to toss that he didn't toss, my man, Carrie Fisher cannot film any more scenes. You had ample time to kill her off, and you didn't. I also spoiled.
No, I actually thought that was brilliant, though. At first, I was like, okay, there's her death scene. And then he hit us with the okie doke, and I'm like, huh? Like, what? Okay, so
all right. So
let's just kind of try to like walk through your experience seeing the movie the first time.
I was one of the lucky people. By the way, I've been bothering Black about this since I saw it.
Yes,
I was one of the lucky people that my parents knew Star Wars were coming out, and I found out there was a showing 7:00 that Thursday night. I went and saw it, got back, have been biting my tongue because I haven't been able to talk about it. But I remember sitting there in the theater. I look at the movie as a 3-part movie, like 3 acts. The first act is pretty good. The weak part comes kind of towards the second act, which we'll get to when it comes to the casino. That is the only part of the movie that I feel like didn't need to exist. And you could have had just as strong of a movie and done just as much stuff. And then the last third of the movie was fun, and probably this movie has one of my favorite Star Wars movies. And all I'm going to say is Hyperdrive. And Black knows exactly what I'm talking about. That is by far my favorite.
That is the most beautiful scene I think I've seen in movies in quite a while.
And everybody talks about Star Wars music and how good it is. This was a dead silent scene. And it
like to show how impactful, I give him credit because, yo, dude, you put your dick on the table and said what to everybody, because they so much so that they actually put out in the movies there's going to be a part at this time in the movie where there's no sound. Don't panic. It's intentional. He actually let you know it's coming, and you're gonna like it. Don't worry about it. Fuck it. You ain't gonna. You'll be fine.
People don't get sometimes no sound. Silence is deafening.
Straight up, the person I went to saw with, she said I kind of wanted to cry at that moment when I saw that. It was because when I saw it, I was like, just sitting there, just thinking, damn.
It legit is probably.
And I honestly will say that's the scene where I said in my mind, this is why he's getting 3 films of his own. This is why Disney is pretty much handing this man a blank check to build the Star Wars universe. He is now going to be what they were trying to get Josh Whedon to be to the Marvel universe, which is he's going to be the architect of the Star Wars universe.
So good. And like even today, because there was this talk of Mark Hamill in his interview saying like, I don't necessarily like the way it went, but now he's more like, no, I get why he did it, and I like it after seeing the film, and I like where this leaves Star Wars. It's something different, and that is what brings the most joy out of me. Is that as a fan of the expanded universe, my biggest issue with Star Wars movies have always been it is really less of Star Wars and the story of the Skywalkers.
Well, let's just be quite blunt. To all you fans of the expanded universe, know that you're talking to somebody who, one, I'm old enough to be Strix dad. I'm sorry. I hate to say that.
I mean, no, I just, my family jokes with my mom about she had her own grandkids, so you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. Like, my grandma,
I don't know who's calling me in the background, but they're going to have to call me back. I'm not getting up to go get my phone. It's just going to have to ring right now. So we're doing important business. Anyway, so I was born 2 years prior to Star Wars being born. I literally grew up on Star Wars. I went on my 8th birthday to see Return of the Jedi. I've read books, comic books, had all the toys, all that stuff. Star Wars, pretty much like me and it have both grown over the years. I was a super big fan of the extended universe, and I was sad when DC said we got to throw all this out and we're going to reshape it. But part of me was kind of excited. Now that excited part is starting to get even more excited because with the Star Wars universe, you're right. It's mainly been just the Skywalkers. In every thread of Star Wars, even the books that were basically decanonized, it's always been linked to Luke in some way. It's never been about the universe itself. It's always been Leia, Luke, Han, Chewie, Lando. Even when you go back, even the like characters that you can say like, okay, Rogue Squadron, they're a side thing. One of them ended up being a Jedi and tied to Luke as one of his higher up members of the council.
They stay the point of reference.
Everything resonated around the Skywalker saga. And that was probably the biggest issue and the biggest problem. That's why there's people like to say like the prequels are really bad, and I'm one of those people. But now I kind of really understand why they're bad, because he could not move beyond one place. And George Lucas, I mean, and I'm going to say something about George Lucas along this way that's going to make y'all mad. So just keep that in mind.
The best things about the trilogy have nothing to do with George Lucas, the prequel trilogy especially. The best things about the prequel trilogy, because since you gave your history, briefly mine, I was born, I believe,
a long time ago.
I'm not that long though. I'm old enough.
In a city far, far away.
In a tree far, far away. I'm an owl, sir. Yes. So when Phantom Menace premiered in theaters, I would have been 5 years of age. I'd seen the Star Wars movie. My dad is a big science fiction dude, so he made sure that I saw Star Wars growing up. Then I saw the Phantom Menace and I watched all the other movies in theaters. I read the books. I remember in middle school, I worked in the library, and I used it as also an excuse to check out literally every single one of the expanded universe books they had. I read other books as I grew up. I've loved Star Wars through and through. My biggest issue has always been that the expanded universe was so much more interesting than the movies, because you didn't have to worry about who. The Skywalkers are the people that are going to bring balance to the Force, is always what you see, whether it's Anakin, whether it's Luke, which I've seen some threads that bring it forward into the new trilogy as well, because they couldn't abandon the Skywalkers, but they abandoned the name, which is one thing that I appreciate about this movie especially. Even though they go into Kylo as a character, they call him Ben. They rarely ever hold to that tradition of really calling him Ben and focusing on the fact his name is Ben Solo and his mom is
Leia Organa Solo.
Leia Skywalker. I'm just going to ignore that. The fact that he has Skywalker blood in his veins, they ignore that. They call him Kylo. They give him his own title. He's not a Darth either, and he doesn't fall into what this trilogy does is kind of say, all right, take what you know of Star Wars, and that's also one of the weaknesses of the movie that I would argue is in the conversation I was just having. They try to subvert your expectations too often. They try way too many times to be like, all right, I need you to look left. Now look right. And like, because you are almost all the way over here. And then they try to throw a curveball. So they're like, hey, so there's this connection between Leia and Luke. Oh, there's a connection between Kylo and Rey. Nope, nothing. They're gonna go find the master hacker and save the day. They're on the ship. They're at the door. They've snuck in. They're safe. Everything is no. And while it's fun to look back and say everything I expected to happen, or most of this stuff, went a completely different way. Oh, here comes the hero sacrifice. And no. It still gets me to where they did it a lot to the point where I started guessing like, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I mentioned the casino scene, which is just the one part of the movie that you could throw out. How did you feel?
I was fine with it. I think the thing that made it for me was like the thing that made it not a completely throwaway was conversations. I think that whole thing was an opportunity for you to actually hear what people outside of the like main heroes who always have the same purpose in a Star Wars movie, which is light versus dark. Good goes after like good survives to finally triumph evil. It was a moment where you could actually sit and see the people of the universe and to see like what goes on. I thought like it was ended perfectly when they escaped and finished having the conversation with Benicio del Toro's, I forget his name, but his character after he takes the necklace from damn, I forgot her name. I don't know why.
Rose.
Rose. Yeah, he takes the necklace from Rose for payment. And Finn is just talking about like, you know, good, you got your money. And he's like, look, let's see who this person we stole this shit from. Oh, yeah, look, you're right. He is one of the people who sells weapons to the enemy. But look here, he also sells them to people. It doesn't matter when it comes to people like this. And honestly, what's right or wrong? What is actually right? Who's actually right and who's actually wrong?
I think, I guess going to that, I feel as though the director really wanted to paint a world of gray. Take Star Wars, which has been tended to be very black and white, and turn it into these shades of gray. And I think Disney stopped him on a couple of fronts. Because I feel like that's where he really had to push the idea of things being gray. I think my biggest issue was with it was I felt like you could use more time on other pieces of the movie. Like,
yeah, I could see that.
Time with the Rey and Luke's dynamic. You could spend some more time even to just cover a few things. Like, I mean, I still wonder who Snoke is. Like, was Snoke just another person to just show up, run everything, and die off? And especially when he was shown to be so immensely powerful. Was the dude they ran into the master hacker? I'm going to fight this to the day I die. Was he the master hacker? They told him, find the person with the pen. We saw the dude with the pen. Did the dude with the pen steal it from him and throw him in jail? Or was this just so happens to be another master hacker?
That was a question I thought, but at the same time, I was like, eh.
I mean, it's one of those things that I don't think matters too much. Is the master hacker good or bad? Or is he, once again, a reaffirmation of gray? Hey, this is just business. I'm just taking the money. No, I'm not trying to get you killed. I just don't want to die, and I like the money. So, yes, I will be 100% honest with you and take the money and tell the First Order where people are going. I think that was my thing, was that in a movie that was 2 hours and 45 minutes, some things felt rushed. What's her name? Holdo. What is her name?
The captain, yeah.
Yes, the purple hair. Make her more likable, please.
No, I was fine that she was a bitch. Or at least came off as one.
Like she came off as like there's that blind faith element. And I'm like, if you just show her like at night working on anything, just one scene like that, and I'm like, nah, she's less like I get that she's trying. She came across as a very snarky person who just didn't, I guess, have a care. Like I legitimately, up until she told us our plan, my thought was she's working for the First Order. She's a spy.
I never thought that. I just thought that she was like, maybe it's because I watch a lot of older military movies. I just thought she was just that person who was like, look, she was kind of a more about the business type person. Sure, she cared, but she has to. Most commanders have to put up the front like, yo, this is the way it is. This is how it's going to be. You either do it or you don't. What's it going to be?
Which I think I'm okay with, but I feel like if that was the case, I would rather them have left her alive. Have her and Poe be at odds. Kind of as the young, I want to do everything and active and very inexperienced. And her,
see, they already had that.
But I feel like, one, I'm still saying, Leia shouldn't. It hurts because how are you? Imagine the next cross starting. And this was a joke. I had another conversation. Leia is dead. The rebels are. I'm like, that is not the way I want to see her go out. I let her have her moment in that. I think that they just tried to turn her character around too much. I feel like if you had given her a little bit more time, or let her and Finn, or even if both of them die, her and Leia and her both die, then you put this immense weight on, I said Finn, but Poe, as like, here are two examples of very strong leaders that you now have to, because like the first time as they set that up where he's talking to Leia about, well, yeah, we won. And Leia's like, that wasn't a victory. You have to recognize and think about what you're doing. You're demoted. And then you get another person that's even harder. And he comes to realize like, wow, she did have a plan. All the stuff I was trying to do, the long shot, the 1 in a million shot is not the shot that you should go for every single time.
Yeah, and I think that's why Leia had to survive, to be quite honest. Because she's not done yet teaching. Granted, yeah, it could be bad. It could be a thing of we may get her funeral at the beginning. That's what a lot of people are expecting, like to see her funeral at the beginning of the next movie.
Well, I do agree.
We don't know how much time is going to actually pass.
There's going to be a time skip. There's no way you don't do the next movie without a time skip.
And things like that. And I would be comfortable with that because I'm actually more comfortable than most people with him breaking the rules of Star Wars. The rule is always, it's just like with the Snoke thing. I really love the fact that Snoke got thrown out like that. And do I need to know where Snoke came from? No, because there was a time where we didn't need to know where the fuck the Emperor showed up. A lot of people don't realize how much like a Star Wars movie this is without not realizing it and not paying attention because they're getting angry because things didn't go in a more textbook way. But let's be honest. If it wasn't for the prequels, who the fuck is the Emperor?
Oh, look, I'm not disagreeing in that point. I feel like, and this is what I say about this movie. Like, to me, this movie.
But no, I'm just saying there's a lot of things that in the Star Wars universe that we had to backtrack to get.
But I feel like
that's we didn't care when it didn't exist.
I feel
because honestly, I did not care about hearing Vader's story. I didn't need Vader's story. If you would have never told me Vader's story, I would still love the original trilogy the way I loved it. It's a lot of key points to like arguments that people are making and jokes that they're making that I find like kind of nonsensical, like the Snoke thing. You don't need to know the history of it. I think because we are now in an age where there's so much stuff that's putting out there, and like they've been fucking over 30 years of created lore from this thing that has already been set in place, that even though it's thrown out, we're still going to jump to because we know it, we remember it, we've seen it. But the reality is, a lot of that stuff was backtracking because people wanted to put that stuff out there. You know, these writers asked permission. It wasn't necessarily planned to be that way. These were people who were asking George Lucas, "Could we do this?" And he was like, "Sure." Some money street for me.
I think as
Things
somebody
like,
that's a fan of the expanded universe, I think it's the breadcrumb kind of sinkhole where there's always breadcrumbs, and sometimes they're just a crumb. They're not something to be followed. They're not a part of something bigger. They don't need to be a part of something bigger. But as somebody that gets really invested in lore and expanded universe,
yeah,
it's kind of like, so this other immensely powerful force user has shown up. Like, who is he? Why is he here? And I think we'll eventually get that.
yeah. You'll get it through books. You'll get it through different things.
We haven't talked about, like, one thing that came up is we don't know his influence, Kylo Ren, his training, any of that stuff. So that's where you can flesh out some of that stuff. Is his interaction with Kylo. And like, there's a lot of answers where I think you can still get them. And I think that what for me is very weird is I like the movie. It's just I feel like it's one of those things that is held up by the current, like, held up by whatever surrounds it. So this movie will only get better with time as more and more expanded universe stuff comes out, as more movies come out.
But that's the Star Wars universe in its nutshell.
I can see that. I think the reason is, like, he basically, the third movie, I guess, has, which is, it's a great thing, has no definitive plot lines to continue. Both of the major warring factions don't have a direct leader currently. The Jedi formally don't exist. The Sith don't formally exist. Our characters are together, but there's still kind of this air of war and conflict existing. So there's no direct thing. Like, from the first one, it's kind of like, Rey is going to meet Luke. Cool. That's a plot line. Where does Rey go from here? Where does Kylo go from here? Where does Poe go from here? Where does Finn go from here? Where does Leia go from here? Where does Hux go from here? And I think that's the thing is, it's less of, and for a lot of those people, I don't know if I would say that because I'm excited for it, but I think a lot of the anger is more targeted towards fear because they have no clue what they expect as something, you know, like if something's coming out.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? I agree with that because, again, going back in an age where we've had all this stuff given to us before and we have access to a lot of things, let's be honest, we're in the I know it all era of things. There's leaks abound everywhere. People know insides and outworkings of everything like we've never known before. So, you know, kind of like, to use a wrestling term, we're all smarts. You know, we're marked for this, but we're smartened up to the business. This didn't smarten you up. People don't like that. People like to have that feeling now of, I know something that I shouldn't know, that I'm a step ahead of the game, that I have that information. And this movie, it dumped us all down.
I can see that. I would like to think of something different. But I don't know. I feel like when I look at this movie, I like the breadcrumbs because I like, it's not even necessarily because I don't mind having a conversation with like my dad, who's more just like somebody that's watched the movies, whereas I've seen the cartoons and everything else about Star Wars. But I like the idea of, all right, this is another thing you and I relate to, Destiny. I like where you are able to have a surface level story, have something people can follow, which I think this does pretty well. But the deeper people want to read into it, and like you agree, I feel like I've grown up in such an age where I am somebody that is fully willing to Google stuff constantly, to where it's like, if I don't know a word, I'll Google that word. If I don't know a word within the definition of that word, I'll Google another word. And it keeps going. And like you said, the rabbit hole never has to end. Except here, he didn't leave you with a rabbit hole. He left you with like, well, we're here right now. Where we go next, we'll have to see. Where we're headed, I don't have to tell you. You know we're headed somewhere. Like, we know there's another movie. We know something else is going to happen in this story.
No, we don't even know this another movie. We know there's 4 movies.
Well, he's already stated that his trilogy is going to be disconnected from this. His trilogy is not going to be just like, oh, Finn, Rey, and Poe, and going on.
Yeah, rightfully so.
It's just going to be his trilogy about different people in different places, and he wants to do something different. And I think this movie showed that. This movie, the best part about it is, like you said, he is not afraid to just be like, no, you do not get the Star Wars you think that you're getting. Star Wars is not what you think Star Wars is. Star Wars is so much more, so much bigger. Like, the things that I have gripes with is just, I feel like from a storytelling standpoint and a movie point, the movie felt kind of disjointed to me in terms of like the pacing of it. In terms of, it's when I get on into that, like, I want to be critical about the movie. When I'm just like sitting back, it's a fun movie and I enjoyed myself with it. But the moment where I'm like, it kind of dragged in the middle.
No, and like the pacing thing is something I agree, because although I will say part of my problems with the pacing had to do with me, because me not seeing it in the beginning, I unfortunately had to sit around and see like negative comments about the movie. So I knew that this is supposed to be the most divisive Star Wars movie and all that. So I would say for at least the first 30 minutes, I was sitting there waiting for the shoe to drop. I was like, what the fuck is really pissing you guys off?
See, and that's why when I came out of the movie and people were asking me, I didn't say it in like divisive. I just said this was the least Star Wars movie of the Star Wars movies. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, it takes what you expect and it plays with it in a good way. Like, as much of the stuff as I can complain about is like, oh, you should have done this. And I had a 5-hour conversation about how you can reshoot this movie and bring plot points from the last one and still make it just as interesting and still do a lot of the same things. I can look back at this movie and say, like, I still had fun with it. I still had the fun guessing. It's just, as a 2.5-hour movie, I feel like there are things they could have done pacing wise. And I am not so stuck in, like, my favorite part is Rey is nobody. Thank you. Rey doesn't have to be a Kenobi, a Skywalker, a Solo, a Windu. She doesn't have to be one of these names we know.
Yeah.
In fact, it's better that she isn't. The little boy.
I was just thinking like about
doesn't
that.
Have to be anybody. Because if you go back going to what you said about the other movies, who is Luke? Who is Anakin? Before you know the rest of Star Wars lore, they're just a really strong kid. If you know nothing else about Star Wars, they're not special until you're told they're special.
Yeah.
They are nobody until this prophecy, people start to buy into it that they're the person to fulfill the prophecy. And so when you say Rey was born to nobodies, and people are like, well, how can you do that? You want me to I retconned this when talking with the other guy. How do you do this? Luke comes back, brings back Obi-Wan, right? And Obi-Wan and him and all of them and all the Force are talking around Rey. And you hear this off comment about it. And what you find out, Rey's parents are Obi-Wan's kids. But he got mad at them. Oh, I don't want it. I'm saying, if they want to retcon it, you can retcon it.
Yeah, I would hate it. I would still, you know what? If they did that, this would make that would concrete 100% make The Last Jedi the best Star Wars movie ever in my mind. Because what it has done for the universe is that it gave it a direction in my mind. It gave you somewhere to go. It gave future directors, writers, their own way of creating their own stories and threads within the universe. The fact that Rey is not related to anybody special, that she's just the daughter of a bunch of like bums, to me, when he said that, I was like, that's perfect.
Because that means that
she's just really in tune with the Force. I'm comfortable with that.
Like the idea that the special person is anybody. It's the person on this no-name planet that we've never seen. This person can be special for this story, or be special for this event, or be important. Their importance is not directly tied to a last name and a prophecy where people are being, I guess, shoved in. Like, you're being told, well, Luke is the son of Anakin, so obviously the only person that can defeat Anakin is his son, and his daughter fighting the Chancellor, and following that,
yeah. But this show's kind of part of the brilliant scheme that Rian Johnson had behind it. Because go back to the first conversation that Rose and Finn has, where she's like giving him this hero worship, and he's just like, I'm no hero. I was just doing what I thought I needed to do. I'm nobody special. Don't deify me.
Luke even did that. Like, in the first part of when Rey shows up and they have that conversation, Luke's like, no, people just expect Jedi to do all this magic and stand as like, and do this and walk out in front of by themselves, and basically saying what he does at the end of the movie. But he kind of, which I loved, was him being like the Jedi's supposed to be the hero and do all the stuff and walk out and he does it, but it's not like he's doing it. He realizes throughout the movie, and I think that's kind of what they want you to see, is like, do it not because it's what's expected, do it because you want to.
Yeah, it's like when Yoda showed up, I was like, huh? But that conversation between him and Yoda was the most brilliant thing, one of the most brilliant parts. And to me, because you see like Luke's trying to destroy the Lord because he's upset about getting rid of Jedi, because he felt like he failed the tenets of the Jedi. And he was going to burn the books, but he was like, I can't because I'm a Jedi. And Yoda came through, was like, fuck this shit. Like he said, these books are nice. They have great stories. They don't make up what it is to walk on the side of light.
But they still walk on the side of. He still left the breadcrumb though. Like, that's what I'm talking about, the breadcrumb, because the comment of these books don't contain anything when talking about Rey that she doesn't already have.
Yeah.
And then they do that little teaser at the end when Finn grabs the blanket to throw on Rose, and the books are in the Millennium Falcon. If you didn't catch, the books are in the Millennium Falcon.
I actually missed the books.
They're in the Millennium Falcon, and it made this point where I just was laughing maniacally at Yoda, like, Yoda,
Yoda's a dick. But it's a point. But he makes a good point. It's like, I understand, like, and again, I understand saving the books and stuff like that, and like, it's precious mementos. But don't just fucking look at these books. It's kind of like how a lot of people have started to progress with religion and that's another reason why I think this is the best one, because it kind of matched and mirrored more of like the way life really is, instead of, sorry, George Lucas, but you're more the fantasy type. You're the more of the, I'm going to teach you the, like, I'm just going to give you a story of good and evil in the more traditional sense, where this goes into what life is. Life is a lot of gray. Life isn't necessarily a one-to-one thing on everything. Yeah, these books are great. The lore, the whole standard of the Jedi, it does a lot of good. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to stay the way it is, or it doesn't have different paths towards going to that light. You don't have to just do it the old way. It'll persist. Good and evil will persist no matter what. It's all about how you choose, which side you choose to stand on, and how you choose to make, your time on Earth or time wherever count. And like you don't have to be a special breed, a person. You just have to, you're Rey. You're Rey's daughter of a bunch of fucking bums, but you're special because you're you. And you have something in you that makes you special.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
I think that's important. I think that's part of the reason, like, we are at another point where this movie is the jumping off point for the expanded universe, right? Like, so many things they touched on can be expanded on in so many different ways. If it is a lot of, like, with what you're saying, the anger of, like, when you know something, right? It's almost like, oh, they can go left and then they can go right up here and then they can go this. And when the guy's like, no, we'll go the other way and we'll see where it takes us. I don't know. I try to let go. Like as much. If I really did not like this movie, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't get, is if I really didn't like the movie, I wouldn't talk about it. I'm not one of those people that I like the idea that I have a movie where I could rewrite the entire movie to make it make sense in continuity. But at the same time, I can look at it and be like, but what is the continuity of this movie? Where does this movie stand? Where is all this, the other pieces? I'm trying to think of something else to just, some stuff was like the gray. I feel like, because I haven't talked with another person, like some people felt like the gray wasn't pronounced enough. Like Rey has the books. Rey's gonna be a Jedi. Yes, Rey. And Rey's gonna become a Jedi type deal. So even if the Sith is dead, which is the other thing, is like it's moving away from the traditional Jedi and the Sith. It is the last Jedi. Luke is the last Jedi.
But is he?
I mean, he's not a Jedi even in the sense of how Yoda trained him. Yoda didn't.
Okay, speaking of the training thing, I need to go to that because that's another thing that bothered me about people having problems with. People were like, "Oh, how is it that Rey can do all this and she's never been trained?" With Luke trained for years. Spoiler alert: Luke did not train for fucking years as a Jedi with Yoda. Do y'all realize he spent 2 weeks probably with Yoda if you go by film time?
I feel like it's still more time than they gave Rey.
No. Because after he went after Vader, he never went back to Yoda. Because a lot of people fucking forget. In the beginning of the Return of the Jedi, when he's talking to Yoda, he tells him, "I've returned to complete my training," and Yoda tells him, "You don't need to."
But no, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is it's more time than Rey got because
because it didn't see. It seemed like basically his whole time of training was during the fucking chase.
Let me see
with Han and Leia.
Let me see. Because I forget they start off.
Because he left. They both left Hoth at the same time.
I guess
Dagobah, they made their run.
Wait, what do you mean?
And if you go back to the Empire Strikes Back, Luke headed to Dagobah at the same time that
I'm specifically saying of Rey. I'm not saying like Luke. Like,
you're saying
for Rey? How did they like? I know they evacuated the main base after they destroyed Starkiller Base, right? That's where Force Awakens picks up, or Last Jedi picks up. Is they killed Starkiller Base and then they leave the base. They're like evacuating when. That's when they first leave, right? Or am I wrong in that? Then they give it in terms of hours, which is the weird thing. Like, we have this many hours of fuel left on this ship as they're trying to get away from the Empire. And I know that, and the weird thing is they don't clarify how long, and this is one thing, that's another thing I would say to the movie. Just give us a time. Like death of Starkiller Base. So death, whatever it would be. DB, whatever. Or DS. So that I have an idea of like how long did it take Rey to actually get to where Luke was? Maybe it wasn't so far off that it was because of the way she got back and forth between the two was fairly quick. She never seemed to be too far off where she needed to go. Yeah, she has light speed travel, but she got to Luke and then she came back, and the people on the ship had hours of
but that's my point. We never, like, you can't say that Luke trained for years because the time reference was the same thing. Was Dagobah that close to where
I think
Cloud City was?
I think the way I call it is I have an issue with her skill with a lightsaber, but they to a degree like announced that it's one of those things where.
But again, I'd say same thing. Luke had skill with the lightsaber in the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. He fought Vader when we never saw him train with a goddamn lightsaber.
I would
with Yoda. It's like you can't pull that up to me. Like, I understand kind of what people are saying, but you can't pull that argument out with me when you have the same goddamn blueprint from the movies that you find are the perfect Star Wars movies, and that you feel like this shit is treading upon.
You just didn't question it before. Like, my thing is, I'm gonna call that BS in all the movies. Like,
but it's movie BS. It's fucking movie BS. That's my thing. If you're able to suspend belief for that back then,
like,
why the fuck can't you do that
all
now?
I say is, and like, I don't know, it's one of those things to me that I look at as like, look, just put a like little thing and be like, at some point, let her know. Even if you have Ray offhanded say a line like, "We've been gone for 3, or I've been gone for 3 weeks."
But see, I don't. I guess maybe because they didn't feel the need to do that ever in movies, and I guess again we're back to the whole people need to know everything. I never questioned that stuff because who the fuck am I to question time frame in a fucking place where spaceships bank in space, which has no air and no gravity, which has people fighting with contained light beams that should be hot enough to cut through, that's hot enough to cut through goddamn steel. Yet they never fucking have any, like, they never have any burn marks on them holding things near themselves.
And that's the really weird thing, because that stuff's been explained. And that's the like the things where it's like, well, because they remove things like the expanded universe, people question it. But specifically to the Ray thing, I think it's.
But it's like, okay, you explained it, but it's still it's bullshit.
Yeah, like to me, it's a pacing thing in the movie. Like specifically, a lot of the stuff I notice when it comes to that, and if I comment like Ray has only done this for this long, it is purely a pacing thing. It's not something that it makes this movie horrible. If you're saying that logic, like you could go back in Star Wars and any number of things.
No, because
something that's supposed to take
think of the pacing thing. The old trilogy, everything snaps. So you had really no development, no character development, as much as you people like to say it was. There really wasn't.
I mean, if you're remembering a movie versus watching it, the movie will always feel shorter than watching a movie. Like
I'm saying the pacing, like everything happened, everything jumped.
Yeah, but even still, I feel like people remember it faster than it actually happened. You don't remember how long some of those scenes were to say like, hey, they have a little bit more weight. I feel like because it was trying to do so many things and jumping around, and there was like these parts, there were some things like, and there were some things that to me go as just cliche that I can be like, hey, this is kind of cliche. It's like I said, if I sometimes tell people, remove your hats. Like, can you just have fun with a movie? Like, I can sit down and be like, hey, as a Star Wars fan, I had fun watching The Last Jedi. Are there critiques that I would give out to say this could have made a better film? Technically, not truly, but technically. It's like being like, hey, in anything, you can be like, this is the perfect, which isn't the perfect way because it's all subjective to do it. But like, there's things that I would change, but that's because like, I don't like everything the director does. I think that the dynamic between Holdo and what's his face Poe could have been far more interesting and fleshed out. And I get when people say like, no, that's not necessarily needed. I feel like the things that are set up because of the film. How did you feel about Poe at the Finn at the very end of the movie? The Finn Rose relationship and how that developed to the end of the movie, I guess I should say.
Hats off to Rian Johnson for, again, the whole blanket thing. Well, I did miss, and I think that's probably why I missed the books. Oh, I did miss the books. I love to like turn back to the end of the last movie where you see Rey looking at Finn, and like you see her looking at Finn and Rose, and she's like, has this look on her face, like, huh? And I feel like it reminded her of like how they parted ways. With her looking at him like
holding out for Finn X Poe. That's still the true one true pairing of Star Wars. Sorry.
Who?
Finn and Poe. The bromance is alive.
Oh. No, I think the third movie, that's just going to be nuts. I do hope they bring back Rose. I'm sorry if for all you guys who hate Rose.
I feel kind of indifferent to her. She's had one movie. Like she had
she was fine to me.
She didn't do anything egregious enough for me to not like her.
But what was it that she did that was bad?
I think the issue is that the scenes that she was in, people feel like didn't need, like the casino especially, didn't need to exist. That is the biggest issue. I still feel like if you want to say the casino didn't need to exist, then you can make Rose the master hacker. You don't have to. It's just as good that she's just an everyday person that grew up in a hard life and they escaped into the rebellion. Yo, a normal person.
Yeah,
Which is
I mean, I can make it, but again, I don't have a problem with it being there. Like, I do understand where people say like it was a side quest that really didn't need to, but it happens.
I would have.
I don't feel like I don't feel like it wasted my time.
I would have rather them spent more time with Maz again if they were going to do that, rather than introduce the new character. Like the new character, I think had his point. He had his scenes. And it's cool to see him, and I think he'll be back, which is why they introduced him. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, why would you introduce him if he's just going to be in there for one or two? Because they're not going to be in there for one or two scenes.
No,
Rose is going to have a part to play in the next movie. Same with the guy that the master hacker guy. Like, they're gonna come back because otherwise they wouldn't introduce them. Why do I say that? Holdo was killed off pretty unabashedly. Now people getting mad about Admiral Akbar. Look, all I needed was one more.
Hey, yo.
Let me get one more.
I was like, yo, was that Akbar? And they say Akbar. They're like, God damn.
My man has survived a lot.
Hey, man. Hey, man, Akbar. We'll miss you, but shit. Fuck. Shit happens in war. You know what I mean? That's why I guess that's maybe that's why I don't feel like the way that everybody felt, because I've made my peace with the fact that things are going to change before this movie, before the Force Awakens. So I was like, just tell me a good story and make it interesting. That's how I went into it. I wasn't sitting here like crossed arms. This is Star Wars. This is my fucking like childhood. Don't fuck with my fucking like child. You know, no. Because it goes back to a conversation I think I had with people about God of War, and when I told them that this God of War is probably the only one that's truly interests me, because Kratos as a character in my mind has always sucked.
Oh my God! Thank you. People don't get.
I said this on the podcast, and people are like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
I love mythology. I love it through and through. Kratos was just an angry dude. That was his character.
Now, again, like I said, I told people before, I'm going to say some opinions that are going to make you mad. Kratos, his whole thing was he was that person who could never accept responsibility. And he murdered the world and refused to accept responsibility. He shouldn't have asked to come back. It cost him. He treated with the gods. He fucked up. He got his revenge on Ares. It should have been it. Nope. But instead, he started to be a dick. And the other gods was like, yo, this motherfucker's a dick. We need to, like, slap him down.
Yeah.
Tell him to calm the fuck down. Instead of saying, you know what, you're right, I have been acting like a fucking asshole. Nope, I'm gonna rage on and murder you all because you fucking questioned my what I did.
To anybody,
it's not me. It's you. You gods need to be put in your place.
I just want to make the point of, like, at the end of the day, they did that poorly at the end of God of War 3. That was the point of the ending of God of War 3. Was like, Kratos fights all this time, and it's like literally 99.9% of the stuff that went wrong is his fault. All he had to do was say, that's enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
And he keeps just, the world is the problem and not him.
Yeah.
With this movie, it doesn't do any of that. It doesn't say that the Jedi, they joke about the fact that Jedi aren't the solution to every problem.
I mean, Luke's rage makes sense because it all comes to make more sense when you hear him tell the story of him and Ben, when he was like, yo, he was going to do it, but he just couldn't do it. And it was like, he felt like he should have did it, but at the same time, he felt ashamed that he felt like the solution was to just kill this person. It was like, I felt this was the right thing to do, but just blindly murdering somebody, I can't do it because I'm not that type of person. I feel like, and he was conflicted with that.
My issue with that scene specifically is that there's more information that needs to be, like, I feel like there's a couple of character, I don't want to say character, what is it? Like, things that it's a jump in logic that's very difficult to make. Not impossible, but like,
why is it a difficult jump in logic?
What is different between Kylo and Anakin? Why is that Luke is able to see the good in Anakin and similarly turn around and say that Kylo has no good when talking to Rey in this movie and can't seem to kind of process that Rey sees the good in Kylo? Like, it's this disconnect to where it's like,
oh, it's not to me.
To me, I was like, you've done the thing. Like, to me, it was kind of like, so, all right, I'm gonna put on my tin hat. Black can ignore me because this is me going down into a rabbit hole that does not exist and probably, like, when somebody is like, hey, look at this thing, read right here in between the writing, and you're looking at it like that's a blank page. It's one of those like deep dive.
And to me, maybe it's because I might leap in thought on it, and it's weird because I'm gonna feed off of the prequels, which is funny. But I don't think the leap in logic is that hard because it just reminds me of, remember how basically Mace was ready to kill what's his name?
Palpatine.
Palpatine. And he was just like, yeah, no, it's rigid black and white. He's Sith. He gotta go. And of course Anakin stopped him and all that. I think what you saw was Luke actually making a call back to the Return of the Jedi when, like, he was trying to be the stoic, traditional Jedi Master. Because what a real Jedi Master would have did at the height of the Jedi would be, fuck it, he's dark, kill him, I don't care. But the hesitance in Luke is because he's dark, but yeah, he's my nephew too, and is it right to just kill him? Like, shouldn't I try? It was like, I think the conflict in Luke was like he felt like he should have tried harder to the way he fought for his father. He felt like he should have fought just as hard for his nephew, and he felt ashamed that he had that feeling in him of like, we're gonna do this by the black and white way.
The shame, I understand the shame. Like, the shame part of it, everything after the event, it's the like things surrounding the event. So, like, specifically that event in episode 3 that you're talking about, I love that because that event is like the moment that seals the fall of Anakin Skywalker. Because at the beginning of episode 3, the same thing happens with Dooku, where Palpatine looks at Anakin and says, no, you have to kill him. Well, he has to stand trial. And what does Palpatine say to him? He's too dangerous. Execute him. And Anakin does it. But similarly, when you come to the end of episode 3, when the exact same words are uttered by Mace Windu. Because I believe Palpatine makes the point of, like, that's what a Jedi would do. A Jedi would execute evil. Or the Sith Lord. Or whatever. Just kind of like what you're talking about. Like, at their height, Palpatine was kind of reciting exactly what would happen. Like, a Sith Lord is to fall. A Sith Lord would be dead at the hands of a Jedi. There is no court. There is no attempt at this or that. And throughout the movie with the manipulation, when what plays to Palpatine's strength is that Mace Windu kind of confirms that. It's like, no, he's too dangerous to keep alive. He controls the Senate. He controls the courts. They won't find him guilty of anything. It is our job as the Jedi to maintain peace, and the way we maintain peace is by eliminating evil, especially when it comes to the Sith, true evil. Anakin steps in. I can get the callback. But I think what my issue with the Luke thing is, like, then why does Kylo Ren, and yes, you can say he was a kid that's scared, why does he get up and like bring the building down on Luke? Sure, whatever. He then burns the estate down, kills the other Padawan, as well as takes some and leaves. Like, it's a course of action that, to me, both sides have to. There's another. My belief in that one is that, because they always say as well, Snoke had got to him already. So I feel like that's the, like, overarching. Snoke was the Darth Sidious point of putting enough doubt for those events to happen. Like, that's the suspension of disbelief. Is you're just supposed to assume whatever Snoke's influence on that situation was, it's what led to not just failure but catastrophic.
Okay, but here's my caveat. or you're supposed to believe that that's what they feel like they believe. Like Luke probably feels like he believes that. He doesn't want to think that no, my nephew is just an evil fuck who needs to go. You know, it's like you kind of get an idea that he kind of got it near the end when he said he has to face Ben. And he tells Leia, like, "I'm sorry, I tried, but
Yeah,
I can't. He can't go." I think the whole Snoke thing. Snoke is the foil for a reason because it's the thing that there's no way that my son could have ever become evil because that's just who he was supposed to be.
It's the thing for them to be angry at. It's not that that's just the way things are. It's
just like
an evil dude, and the evil dude is what corrupted him, not just he made the choices he made.
But it's a real life thing. It's the thing that we do in life. We know when we see, especially people that we love, go a route that we never expected them to go. Our first thoughts are always like, well, it wouldn't have been that way if such and such didn't influence him. Maybe if he would have went to church more, he wouldn't have been that way. Maybe if he would have hung out with so-and-so, he would have been that way. Well, his father was around, he might have been a better person. Those are all things that you can make an argument for, but it's also things that you can throw out as possibly excuses because there is certain people who, no matter what the influence is, they're going to go that path no matter what. It's just in him. And I think that's why, this is getting kind of in theory, but that's why I feel like in the third one, and I think you saw that in part in this one too, when he made that whole speech about let's just get rid of the Sith, let's just get rid of the Jedi, let just me and you take over everything and rule.
With him still walking down that, presented with an option to walk away, his walking away was still choosing to the rest of the
and they're showing you. I think they're setting up to show you more that him going down this path of, it wasn't Snoke after all, and that's why Snoke being alive still doesn't matter because he's an evil motherfucker. He was going to be an evil motherfucker no matter what. It's not because Leia and Han were bad parents, not because Luke was necessarily a bad Jedi master, not because Snoke was just this huge master of manipulation. Snoke kind of like egged on that stuff, but that shit was in him. And I think that's what you're going to end up seeing. And it's like, that's another thing that I think we're not going to see. Is he going to, he's headed down this path, but is he going to break left and turn back around? Is he going to or is he going to keep?
I think what's also interesting is the fact that I think the reason you and I differ on, especially the scene that we're talking about, is because of, I think it has an age thing to do. I looked at that scene as Luke doing exactly what we were saying Kratos wasn't doing. Luke finally stopping and saying stop saying it was less of him just saying Ben is evil and him to stop running from and avoiding the problem. It is a problem. One, whether or not Ben is evil is a problem he created and is a problem that he needs to handle. He can't shut himself off from the world and pretend like everything is going to be okay.
And he realized he made that mistake.
And I think that's where I took the scene as less of Ben just being directly evil, because that's a thing of parents. There is no parent out there that no matter how much you really try to beat it into them will ever really want to go to my child is evil. My child is bad. My child will do wrong. My child does not have any of those things. There's just such a small portion of a thing. So I get that. Even amongst family, because I think that's what the conversation with Leia is saying to me anyway, is no, I understand why you have to do what you do. I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not his mother saying go kill him, even though he just tried to blow me up. I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying, but I understand you as my brother having to do what you have to do. And I'm not going to talk about the fact that he can make the dice physical, but then the dice are still force constructs, and he can't be touched by Kylo. But that's the stuff where I'm like, look, I don't care which one you pick. Just pick one. Either the dice aren't really there, so Leia can't hold them, or the dice are there, and Luke could be there. So even if he got hit,
the dice weren't really there.
They weren't, because they disappeared. But Leia was able to hold them.
Yeah, but she was able to kiss Luke too.
But that's what I'm saying. But
that shows you, like, when he's in touch with the Force, you can't fuck with Luke.
No, but even beyond that, what I'm saying is, like, then in the fight with Kylo, he dodged everything. He specifically did not. Because I remember, I was
for real, Luke was a hell of a wrestler from back in the day because he stuck to kayfabe.
I hate you. I was watching the movie, right? And what I clearly remember was sitting here was saying, Luke is gonna do that disappearing bullshit. Just like Obi-Wan did. He's gonna do it because my man literally just went. First of all, we talked about this. First of all, he did the Jay-Z wipe his shirt.
Yeah, I love what he was like.
He leaned he slid under the. I'm like, all right, Luke.
He hit him with the Neo.
You having way too much fun, my man. And I'm just sitting up here like, so you really just telling Kylo, like, look, you about to beat me because I'm gonna let myself die. That is what I was hoping the point of that fight was. Was like,
and in the way it was, though.
Like, I'm so immensely powerful, I don't have to show up to fight you.
Yeah. And I think he made his last connection with the Force. And I think that's why I don't understand. Again, another thing that people gripe about was how he died. I was actually...
I want to make this very clear. Like, if you get mad about how he died in that movie, you need to be mad about how Obi-Wan died. You need to be like, I'm sorry. Like, that wasn't could they have done it in a different way? Sure. But it's just being at peace with the Force. You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 3 key things. 1, what other way is the best way for him to die? Answer: none. You're gonna be fucking mad that Luke Skywalker is gone anyway. Nobody was gonna be happy seeing Luke Skywalker gone. I'm not happy that Luke Skywalker is gone as a fan of like Luke Skywalker, but as a rational human being, I understand the need that he can't continue to be the foil in all of this and can't consider to be the focus point. Shit changes, life changes. Actually, death is a part of real life. Get the fuck used to it. If he would have been struck down by Kylo, you would have been just as pissed because, again, going back to the fact that we have all this lore that talks about how fucking of a badass Luke is, Kylo, he should be able to do that, and Kylo's dead. If we go back to the old expanded universe,
that was touched on because it's the idea of like, well, why hasn't Luke shut himself off from the Force?
Yeah,
he literally removed himself because
he was so brokenhearted. He was just like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
The joke was that like Luke is a one-man army, and it's the idea of he's a one-man army.
Yeah. And he's just like, I don't want to be this one man. I don't want to keep being this thing.
Like, I make the joke of like, for me, when like all the lasers shot at him, I was not disappointed thinking like, oh, he didn't do anything. I just wanted that for like just that real quick, like just to look at Kylo and be like, look, you're not on my level. Stop trying to put yourself out there. You're not Snoke. You're not this. I just wanted him like they all shoot at him and you just see him standing there. No hands raised or nothing, just holding the blast there and just throw them all back and just be like, and then Kylo's like, well, I guess I have to do this, being like, yes, I'm the Jedi. This is my turn. And then he gets his ass beat too. And they sitting up here. And the entire point of that is like, look, if I was a part of this, this would be over with.
Yeah.
Because his entire point to me was also him showing up to make a peace to say, look, I also failed you. That was also to me him.
Yeah, and that's why I go back to the whole like the part we were talking about with like, you know, not understand. That's why I really truly understand that, because he was just like fucking
because I guess if
I feel like I wasn't. That's how he felt. He felt like he wasn't good enough. I
look at that scene through the eyes they're presenting, like with him being evil. That entire stance was Luke saying, "Look, I failed you, and part of me showing this is if I really wanted to kill you, you'd be dead."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like, understand that me disappearing was just as good for you as it was that I felt I needed it, because he felt that, because like, I mean, you could argue at that point he's in a catch-22. If Ben keeps doing evil stuff, then he was right and he needs to go kill him. And if he doesn't do evil stuff, then he almost killed his nephew for no reason. Kind of like what you put up. And so, yeah, he shuts himself off. I just wanted that moment with Luke to be like, look, if Luke is going out, Luke is gonna just, he's gonna He's gonna be the thing that kind of like what they did afterwards, because they still sensationalized it when the kids are playing at the end of the movie, being like, and then Luke Skywalker went outside and they all shot at him and he just took, like, there was still that moment.
Because that's, to me, that's like, that shows you a legend can die, but he will never fucking really die. So why are you fucking mad? Because he's still a fucking legend.
No matter who it is, the story will always get bigger as well.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
But hold on, let me go to the other 2 points. Second point being, after, like, there's no perfect way to kill him.
Oh, there isn't.
2, no, there's really no perfect way to kill. And as far as I say this, when I say there's no perfect way to kill him, I say this is there's no perfect way to kill him, as in this will make everybody in the world fucking happy. I can think of better ways, different ways for him to go, probably as well, if I really put my mind to it. But I honestly, when I saw it, I kind of closed myself off for that, because I was like, he died the way that he needed to. That was fine. The reason I say that, because, okay, second point being, him dying like that, it was his time to go. He was ready. He was done. He was like, it's time for me to move on. I'm finished. Just like Yoda. He basically paid homage to Yoda. But one thing that I think a lot of people miss when they say this is not Star Wars, that scene was 100% fucking Star Wars. In fact, you know what that scene was a recreation of before he vanished? Do you remember in the first Star Wars film when he's standing on Tatooine and he's looking at the sunset, the 2 suns of Tatooine set? Did you notice what he saw before he died? The 2 fucking suns of Tatooine. He went home. He was ready to go fucking home. That was beautiful. That was masterful. You fucking fucks who think you're fucking Star Wars fans. Did you not see the beauty in that?
I think it's the idea. My thing is, I'm happy with the way he died. But
yeah, I am too.
Happy with how he died is why I'm mad they didn't kill off Leia.
No, I actually find like myself happy that they actually didn't make that turn, because for some reason I feel like now her death, however it's done, even if it's done in the corny, it's at a funeral way.
I agree. It's going to start with her funeral. You're not going to see how she died.
Because I think what you're going to see with like her funeral is now Poe steps up. Like he finally has got it, because he spent enough time with her after like realizing how fucking wrong he was and how fucking right she was, that he's going to pay attention to her and actually fucking smarten his ass up. And I think what you're going to get from Poe in the next one is you're going to get a more mature, like, he's going to still be like, you know, cocky and all that, but he's going to be a more mature Poe. I think what you're going to see is the maturation of certain characters in this one.
And that's the thing. Like, I think I do that with every movie. Everything down from my least favorite to my favorite, even down to my favorite movies. I'm always somebody that's like, because it's a fun thing. How would I write this story, right? How would I make this? What would I do if it was up to me to make the story? And I look at it and I think that the movie did a lot right. Like I don't know if you expected me to not like the movie, because there wasn't. To me there was nothing egregious. Like there's nothing to make me feel like the movie. There's stuff I wanted to do differently because I feel like there were characters I started to grow attached to that I didn't get more time with, or characters that I feel like could have had a better moment in the spotlight if certain things were done differently. But I'm more interested, like you said, when this dude does his own trilogy, it'll be good.
Yeah, no. The problem with doing this Star Wars trilogy, it's the breaking point. It's that big moment of change that a lot of us probably don't want but need.
I don't think it's that it's in the middle of Abrams. I would rather see what Abrams' story was before I would go in and then do this in the context of before I would take it in terms of
ranking.
No, like my issue is like this is a movie that I didn't want it to be a middle movie. I would rather this be, even if instead of what they did, they gave him a movie after episode 9. So episode 10 was him taking over and taking the Star Wars world in the way that he wanted to take it. because now I feel like kind of what I was joking with, I think, at the beginning of this. I feel like what is Abrams has the palette to do whatever, the path to do whatever he wants, but
yeah,
if he was setting stuff up in the first movie, did they talk enough for him to know exactly how much stuff he's gonna have to?
I'm sure they did, because didn't he recommend Rian Johnson?
I'm not sure.
I think he had a hand in picking who was going to direct this movie, and I think he was one of the people who lobbied for Rian Johnson. I don't think it was just like, yeah, because he still has been doing executive producer work for the thing, even though he did. I think he really wanted this guy in there, and I think he did it purposely. I think they purposely picked this guy, knowing what his vision was, because I think with this movie being the middle, I think it's a perfect middle. For the franchise as a whole. That's why I feel like I don't think I'm going to ever lose love for this film. I think as time goes on, my love for it is going to grow, because of what it's going to do. Because, okay, let's get into the George Lucas thing. Sorry, people who love George Lucas and think he's this master genius and all of this. First of all, he's not necessarily a master genius. The guy did a great job at coming up with this concept. But the best movies of the franchise before probably this one were George Lucas's films. It was what's his name? Gosh, I can't think of his last name. But it was the director of The Empire Strikes Back and the executive producer of The Return of the Jedi. He is actually the true architect of the Star Wars universe. George Lucas put the pieces on the table. That man fucking took them and turned them into art. So, yeah, George Lucas did a great job in coming up with this whole concept universe and things like that. But as we've seen from the prequels, we saw the chinks in his armor. The guy was never a great writer. Dialogue-wise, it was not the best dialogue. It made his point, but he's not the best at like creating human conversations. This movie and J.J. Abrams actually had the better human conversations that we've ever seen in Star Wars.
Star Wars didn't have human conversation. What's his name? Hayden Christensen didn't sound human as Anakin.
Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
I give him credit. He did the best he could with the material.
Yeah,
he did a hell of a job, but it's really
most artists work in clay, most artists work in paint. Some work in chalk. Kind of rough taking a stone and drawing in sand with the wind blowing 30 miles an hour, But I digress. Yeah, George Lucas's impact has always been overinflated to me. Like I said, I appreciate George Lucas because he was the guy who came up with the idea. But what this movie why I appreciate it as a middle is, like I said, it actually gives Star Wars something that George Lucas could never do, and that's give it direction. Reason why I say you can't make an argument that he brought direction to it, because what did he do when he had a chance to make new Star Wars films? He decided to go back.
This one I want to make the point to you. And you know what? If you say that, I personally don't have an issue with that. But I do not want you to also be the person that sits up here talking about how garbage the original
I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm saying George Lucas is because again, original trilogy in my heart will always be fucking phenomenal, and they still hold up.
That's what I'm saying.
They hold up well.
I'm saying what I misspoke in saying. I don't have an issue with you talking like that if you really do enjoy. I grew up with the prequel trilogy. I don't see it as bad as most other people because I didn't see it until I got older where people were like, yeah, this was a problem. 5-year-old Strix did not look at Phantom Menace and be like, this pod racing was dope. The last fight, I don't see everybody that hates that movie. That
last fight was fucking fire. No. Okay. No. All right. So let me clarify my feelings on the trilogy, the prequel trilogy. I always think they're bad movies. I don't necessarily think they're totally bad Star Wars canon. I just feel like when you look at it, it was like, it's cool that he fleshed out some things. I don't like the way that he did flesh it. He kind of handcuffed the series a little bit with the way he developed the backstory to the whole Skywalker, because he kind of helped re-solidify that whole everything must be Skywalker.
Yeah.
With those things, which I thought wasn't necessarily a good look for it. I understand he wanted to tell Anakin's story, but it was just like it just so much because like it's so wrapped around him.
To anybody that doesn't get what Black is saying in that sentence, think about the fact that when brought up, very few people brought up the idea that Rey could be nobody. People were like, is she a Kenobi? Is she a Sky? Like it was, she has to be somebody that we know. Yes, there are people out there that were like, oh, or she could just be nobody. She doesn't have to be anybody special. But most people were really fighting for the idea of, oh, she's a Kenobi. She's a
yeah. By the way, I love the mind fuck with the whole link between him and
that.
Everybody was probably saying his twin sister, like Luke and Leia, ain't it? And they kind of just came over the screen like, you're nobody, you're nothing.
Like that was what I was talking about. Like they try to mess with you too much. Like I was talking so, and like you don't need that many jukes.
I love that juke. That juke I fucking love though.
Look, I'm saying you had 30 yards to the end zone with nobody in front of you, and you still out here juking for no reason.
Hey, start doing the Dion dance, y'all. That's what you did. Start doing the Dion dance.
I remember I was like, oh, okay. So it's a very clear allusion to they're connected, like Luke and Leia are connected.
Okay, I will say this. The reason why I like it is because when they did the jukes, they didn't just do jukes. It wasn't really necessarily jukes. It was, I'm shutting the door right now in your fucking face, and you didn't hit in the nose.
Is every time I knocked, you had to do that? Like you're sitting up here like, Finn and Rose are about to six. No, they're not.
Boom,
Everybody's dead.
The fuck out of here. It's not going to be like, we're not painting by numbers here like they used to.
And it's not even that. Like my thing is this. Here's the other thing. If you were going into this movie hoping for a happy movie, I'm going to tell you the reverse. Do not walk in the theater. If you somehow made it through this entire spoil-free section, this is not a movie that's meant for you to walk out and be super happy about. It's a movie that just lets you know that things have changed.
Yeah.
The heroes don't always win. They start off the movie being like, you cost us like 80% of our fleet. That was stupid. Don't do that. There is not a hero's welcome when you're reckless.
No.
Sometimes you make a stupid decision, you win, and it's just as stupid of a decision.
Yeah, and I love that there wasn't a hard cliffhanger like there was with the Empire Strikes Back.
What is a hell of a cliffhanger? Because we ain't know.
No, I'm saying the hard. When I say a hard cliffhanger, meaning like the end of Empire Strikes Back, you're like, okay, we know that they're gonna come back, and you know.
Bet. I thought the movie was gonna end at the hyperspeed moment or the hyperspace moment when it just went dead silent. I was like, that's a place a Star Wars movie would end.
Yeah.
Or when you have the two of them in the throne room, both force pulling on the lightsaber, it cuts out when everything explodes, and you're left to be like, well, what happened to Rey? And
but I'm glad they didn't do the hard. They gave you like an ending saying, yo, now we're gonna have to, like, things are gonna have to change and things are gonna have to be reshaped, but we're gonna keep going because that's what we need to do. We're gonna do what we need to do to make things, better and make things right.
Star Wars great again.
Yeah, he's left an ending telling you we're rebuilding this shit, people. This is now a new franchise.
I guess I look at it as, when I say, and that's the thing, when I say like this is dependent on where I view this is dependent on the movies that and the stuff that comes after it, is not to say that I will ever think this is bad. To those of y'all out there that think I'm championing this as a bad movie, it's not. In fact, I prefer open endings. I prefer you not to give me all the answers. A person like me, if you're somebody that likes breadcrumbs, you like open endings because you have stuff to explore. All right, so I was talking to Black about this before you turned it on. I spent 5 hours talking about how I would rewrite this movie, but that wasn't where we stopped. We went on to, well, where does the next movie happen? Where does his trilogy move to? How do you function? And what we could go anywhere with it. It wasn't constrained to, well, this has to happen, or this. Well, this can happen. This might occur. You could possibly go in this way. And that's so much more fun to think of.
Yeah. No, I can watch anything knowing what's going to happen, or like I can watch anything and be entertained, as long as it's, as far as I'm concerned, as long as if it's done right or done well, I can be entertained knowing every step of the way exactly what's going to happen.
On the internet, you have to hate it.
You know, but I enjoy things more when I don't know everything, when I have to sit here and I get a chance to actually think about it and to wonder and to be able to process. Like, me and my friends sat in the theater through the whole end credits, not because we were expecting like an end credit scene like it was a goddamn Marvel movie, because we were just sitting there digesting and talking about different points of things and all of that, and just wondering like what the possibilities could be and how things are going to go, and like reflecting over certain moments in the movie. I like a movie that I much prefer movies that make me do that than, I mean, I hate to say this, but what the original trilogy did. The original trilogy, you know, again, fantastic. We'll always love them, but they didn't necessarily leave you with a lot of like questions or like serious soul searching. Again, that stuff came as they expanded the universe, and when you go back to the movies, you could start breaking it down. But with the way they were originally established, they weren't established to have you thinking that way. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of the stuff, if you went back, if you really do ignore all the stuff that's been built up about Star Wars, there's questions just like the ones I'm posing right now. And it doesn't have to be, it may be answered, it may never be answered. No one needed to see Darth Maul with spider legs come back. But we were happy when we got it. Like, same thing, like, to all those out there, do you question the fact that Qui-Gon was eventually able to commune with or to become a Force spirit? And do you put him on par with the Yodas? And if he can do it, why can't Mace Windu do it? If Anakin and Luke and Obi-Wan can do it, and why can't some of these other Jedi? Are they that?
Yeah, why like every fucking dead Jedi master walking around as a ghost haunting?
Yes, there's a reason, but then you have to bring into account like the fact that I believe they've addressed, and that it might have been the expanded universe, but I think it wasn't just in the expanded universe. That they were like, no, Qui-Gon Jinn was able to materialize as a Force ghost, or able to commune with Force ghosts at least. So he understood that basic idea.
Yeah.
And it's the idea of like, are you saying, because Qui-Gon Jinn is a beast and monstrous in his own right. If you haven't read any of the Qui-Gon Jinn books, I don't care if they're not canon, go read them. Same with the Mace Windu. They're both amazing Jedi that deserve entire series to themselves, because God, are they awesome. But like, it becomes this weird thing of where people try to do it superheroes, of like power rankings of like, well, how strong is Yoda?
Right.
Is Yoda stronger than Luke? I mean, you could bring the idea of like, again, another question. This man Yoda can control nature. Like why didn't, like, this man Yoda was legit? And now what's even better is when you get to that logic and you're like, why didn't Yoda do anything? It is even better when you realize you can picture Yoda sitting somewhere laughing maniacally at all the stuff going on, knowing he could do something, but finding it far more enjoyable to just watch it play out and understanding he needs to watch it play out.
Yeah.
Also, going to that conversation, I think Luke had to learn on his own. Yoda could have had a conversation and been like, and the thing is, this is all stuff that I feel like would have made just as good of a movie, and be like, hey, Luke, you're here because of me. The position you're sitting in right now is because I went against my better judgment and let your father train to be a Jedi, even though I started off saying he was too old. Darth Vader exists because of me. You exist because of me. Blah, 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 blah. But Yoda doesn't do that. Yoda's like, things happen.
Yeah.
Stop being so
no, like he was teaching Luke. He's like, yo, and like he helped Luke get to that point where he can come and confront Kylo and say, yeah, I fucked up. He was like, yo, what's the best thing to learn from life is from your mistakes. You got to fuck up. If you don't fuck up, how you ever gonna like necessarily learn certain things? You know, so it's like, it's fine. You fucked up. Learn from it. Go.
I don't co-sign that message. You need to be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. No. I will never say that because anybody who thinks they're perfect, eventually.
If your first album is not if you're a rapper and your first album is not a Damn and or To Pimp a Butterfly, you're a failure. Like, you can't put these expectations on people.
Yeah.
No.
So, but in reality,
don't take life so seriously.
Like, yo,
to all of those out there.
Again, you say To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn. Well, let's go back to before when he was doing, Section 80 and stuff like that. Those weren't perfect albums.
Section 80 led to Good Kid, Mad City, which led to
it led to it, but they weren't perfect. And why was it? Why was he able to get to the Good Kid, Mad City stuff and all of that? It's because as he grew and did stuff, he didn't do the perfect thing. He did some things that, he could go back and look like, damn, I could have did this better. I could have did this better. I could strengthen my writing in this area.
To all y'all out there, he put out an article where he said he is the person he is today because he rapped a garbage verse. And it was not okay with him. And that's what partly motivated him to get better and do what he does.
Yeah. He learned from his mistakes. So there.
Those out there that want to...
So see, I didn't get like totally cynical with it.
As opposed to when people tell you that you caught an L, you learned a lesson, all right? And the only time a lesson isn't worth it is if you keep making the same mistakes.
Oh, that's so poetic. That's poetic.
I stole the mess out of that.
Yeah, sure.
Shout out to Lecrae and Blessings with Ty Dolla $ign. That's like the hook of the song. There's one point if I ever caught an L, I learned a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, but it's very true. I mean,
like we joke about L's all the time, but yeah, like this movie was not an L. It was a lesson to a lot of people. People got to learn to. Like, I think the great thing is that all the people out there, like, this should be the movie where you recognize that, one, I'm going to give you two. One, this is not your story. Let it go. Two, if you feel like it is your story, write your story.
Yeah.
If you're that angry, pin your space epic. Take from it what you think is good, leave what you think is bad. Develop your own story. That is where great writing and great things come from. It is not from nowhere. It's from inspirations, from the things that you enjoy, the things that you don't, and you crafting it into something that you personally love. So if you're angry, write your own version. And shoot, nowadays on YouTube, write and film your own version, and you'll get 20 million views as the fan version of Star Wars Episode 7 and why it's so amazing. And you'll get Kotaku articles written about you.
And to go on a more angry rant, if you can't understand that it's not your story, too fucking bad. Two, not everything is meant to appeal to you and please you. There's going to be things in life that you don't like. Just because you can get on the internet and scream to the top of your lungs and go to create fucking whack-ass petitions to try to force people to change stuff because you like just because a few creative areas are stupid enough to fucking let you guys do that shit. Don't think everybody should do that. Nope. Hold on. I need to finish this fucking rant first. Okay. 3, most importantly, you can be angry. You can have your opinion. You can be negative. What you should never fucking expect is for everybody to cater to your fucking every want, need, demand. Correct. Life is not like that. If every creator did that, there'd be no creativity. Why? Because nobody would think of doing anything. That is why you have all the fucking bullshit that you see and stuff like gaming, where people are screaming at EA and screaming at all these people. Why? But you complaining about nobody makes anything original. You complained about how the first one wasn't original, how it was just a rehash of fucking Star Wars. Okay, fine. You got something different. Now you want to complain about that. You know what? If you're one of those people who went one way with the one and then the other with the other, you need to just shut the fuck up and sit in the corner and find something else to be into. Because, God damn it, you don't know what the fuck you want. You're just being contrarian just because you want to be contrarian. Be honest with yourself. Be open. And just go to fuck off and fuck yourself. Okay.
Just watch the old movies if you feel that way. Just
exactly. You have what you want. I say that, and it's funny because I just had this conversation with SB about the Destiny thing and people crying about some video some dude made about how he figured out how much time it would cost versus how much money it would cost to get everything that's sold in Eververse, and how like people shouldn't dismiss it because it's just cosmetic stuff. I say to that guy, fuck yourself, go to hell, because at the end of the day, who told you had to buy all that stuff? Who told you need all that stuff? Who told you had to grind to get all that stuff? Make fucking choices, people. There are other choices that you have in life.
Not even just that.
Do that instead of crying all the time.
To all those out here, I'll take this a step further. They're complaining about the gaming industry. Yes, we've off topic, but gaming industry and how it's all about money now. And there's nothing about fun. And there's this, that's because you let it be that. I have my critic hat. I have my hat to be like, is this a good or bad? But at the end of the day, I don't care that the Order 1866 was 4 hours long because I enjoyed my time with it. I enjoyed it. Is that something that's wrong with it? You can choose to enjoy something or not enjoy something. But one thing, just take a step back. Were you counting hours when you were a kid? Yes, you have to pay for it, so I understand it. But did a Final Fantasy game, was a Final Fantasy game any more fun than Madden to you back then? And if so, was the fact that you didn't play those Madden games as much now, is that the same thing? Where the hell is my phone?
It's fine. Mine's been going off.
I just kind of, I definitely, like, I partially argue about all this stuff because I just want to say to people is like, if you feel life is becoming too serious, and this is something I personally have to remind myself about constantly. If you feel everything's too cynical, too serious, too this, too that, maybe you are that thing. The world is not going to stop changing for you. So be more positive, look forward. If you like something, mess with it. If you don't, I didn't like that movie. Because here's the thing, you not liking the sequels didn't kill Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody, most people raced over the prequels, and you see Star Wars is still standing.
Because, and what I'll tell you as a kid that grew up with the prequels, there's a kid out there that enjoys them, and you can't and shouldn't take that away from them.
Yeah.
Because nobody had to tell you that the games that you were playing, the movies that you were watching, those were going to be things that you look back on and laugh. You still enjoy, but you laugh and you find the enjoyment for different reasons. You grow up. This movie is not bad. In fact, what this movie does is it almost ensures that Star Wars will be here for decades to come and be able to do it in new and different ways that aren't directly tied to people, to things that you know. Because to those out there, what happens when Mark Hamill passes, God forbid? When Harrison Ford passes? These people that we can't get back. You can no longer make the original trilogy because they're not with us anymore. Does it automatically become bad? Does it automatically, do you give up on this thing that you spent this much time loving?
Yeah,
let Star Wars be for somebody else what it was for you growing up.
Yeah. Again, like, it's just like using the game analogy with all the franchises. Same thing goes with any form of entertainment in my mind. Sometimes things change to a point where it's not necessarily something that you like. Well, you know what? Life changes that way. Life changes, period. What you cared about 10 years ago, you may not care about anymore. Maybe you do. Maybe you see it in a different light. Again, you've seen me, someone who's enjoyed the original movies so much. I fucking laid into George Lucas. Why? Because I have grown to understand certain things. Do I not appreciate what he did? No, I appreciate it. I damn sure appreciate what he did. But I could see like things that, I could see why they don't stand. Things that he did may not be as strong as they were when I was a child. Because I've matured, I've gone through life, and I've change, and everything's going to stay the same. That's why I'm not like with the prequels. I'm not like raving mad about them. Did I think they were good movies? No. Did I think there was stuff in there that was good and like I like? Yes. But at the end of the day, those weren't movies built for necessarily me because they were built in a time that wasn't the time I was growing up in. Like you just said, for someone like you growing up during the area,
because that's the thing.
It has a different look.
Pretend like 5-year-old me wanted to be Anakin.
Yeah.
5-year-old me, like, or you want to be in the pod races, you want to do all these different things. And I guess just wear multiple hats if you want to wear it, but don't, if you want to have fun, choose to have fun. If you're looking for problems, you will always find them.
Basically, like, go ahead.
It's why when, if people talk to me, there are people that know, and Black's one of these people, I can be super critical. I could go into this movie and talk about how continuity wise everything is off and out of place and how the movie would be better. Literally, I had fire trucks and now I have a car alarm going off. Great. They could be all over the place. But one thing is I always try to do is at a certain point, did I have fun? Did I enjoy it? Because that's something I don't want to lose. I've been at a point where I've been so burned out on something that I walked away for it for a year, 2 years. Because, and what I've learned is, like, if you don't take it that serious, it won't ever be that serious. No, I'm not telling you to, like, waste money. But there's a difference between neither, as this Star Wars movie proved, neither extreme is right. It's the gray. It's the normal people. It's the normal things that are important. Just sometimes it's okay to sit back and enjoy. Don't be anything and everything is great, and don't be everything has to be criticized. Just enjoy. Play what you want. Watch what you want. Read what you want.
You know, it's like what SB said. If you really have a problem with it, why don't you just stay away from that? You know this is something that you're not.
Because the fact of the matter will always remain. They have a conflict because they like the thing, but they get so caught up on this issue as humans where we like to pretend that we're logical creatures. Logic would dictate this course of action, that they have a disconnect and a split in saying, whether or not it's logical doesn't matter. What I like is what's the most important thing. I don't need to justify my purchase to anybody but my wallet or my time. If you didn't like this movie, that's fine. The issue comes when you're trying to take away from other people's enjoyment.
Yeah. Like going out and saying this, just like somebody was saying to me, it's a bad movie because most of the characters don't really matter. You know, most people that you see in movies aren't necessarily the main feature.
Right.
So I don't understand that logic.
Because I was like, anybody out there, the Star Wars Episode 5, the 16th Stormtrooper shot. What was his name? What about number 17? What about number 18? What about most of the Stormtroopers throughout the original trilogy? Those are the majority of people that you see.
Yeah. You know, there's people that have like interesting big roles like that aren't necessarily the main feature either. Who the fuck knows the name of the kid who played the Padawan who was fucking up the goddamn stormtroopers on the launch pad to let Senator Organa go?
Straight up,
you don't know his fucking name.
But
you don't know who the fuck he is, what the fuck he do, you know.
And what unless you now,
yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah. Like if you don't really care for it, I understand. Say that you don't care for it, but to harp on it, to continue to gripe, and to try to force things to turn to your way. Nah, there's so much out there that you can enjoy in life than to waste your fucking time.
Also, that's how stories are written. Like, you don't know the name of everybody that lives in your city. You know the name of people that have relevance to you and your story. Your boss's name. Your family's name. Your friend's name. Maybe the guy that works at the pizza shop that you go to every day down the street's name. You know their names. Because to you and to the story that you're building, they have relevance. Maybe in a different story, that dude that you say that doesn't make any... Maybe Admiral Akbar's story is so grand that It's a Trap is nothing but is his smallest moment. Maybe Neen Nub, who's also in the movie, has a story we don't know.
And you know, that's the thing I think about too. When you think about the Akbars and the Neen Nub, we've elevated their position so high. But if you again, sorry people to break your your whole fucking like view of things, but they weren't fucking big characters. Akbar showed up out of nowhere and was like, okay, and all the ships take off, call out your call signs. He fucking sat there, was like, it's a trap, which everybody remembers. And he said, concentrate all fire on that Star Destroyer. Those were his fucking 3 biggest moments in the fucking Return of the Jedi. He didn't create necessarily. He gave you the plan. He didn't necessarily create the plan. Other people created the plan. He was ahead of the like flagship, but he barely did anything.
And that's
but you feel you've deified him.
And that's what it is to every like a character is only as important or unimportant as you make them.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are things you care about that the writer doesn't necessarily see as important. Because trust me, to all y'all people out there that say, yes, I do, y'all the people that also complain about things like Game of Thrones being like, and his 42nd grandfather was this person from the house of blah, 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 who in turn married. They give you the entire history of somebody, and then you be mad that, why are they telling me all this useless information? I don't need to know this.
Like, yo, you Admiral? Cool. Go ahead, fly ship.
I guarantee you they probably wrote a book about Admiral Akbar. I ain't read it. I don't feel the need to read it. If you read it and you coming at me as the biggest Admiral Akbar fan, I am happy that you exist. Because you gave him a position that nobody else would have.
Yeah. All I know is it was a fish that used to fly spaceships. I mean, you know, God rest his soul, you know.
I want to talk about stuff that don't make sense. What happened to all the why'd they just stop using decoys with Princess with Padme in the prequels?
Yeah.
Why did at no point, why did, if he's trying to save his wife, did he choke his wife? Why did Anakin choke his wife if the point was to save her?
Yeah, y'all talking about how great he is and how a tragic figure you are. Y'all ain't talking about the fact that this man is kind of abusive too.
My man was like,
"Oh baby, I love you. Bitch, I kill you."
Like, I need to stop my wife from dying. Let me force choke her.
Right?
Huh?
Like, as soon as she's like, "I'm leaving because you're a fucking crazy psycho," what's the first thing this motherfucker does? He tries to kill her.
And it's like,
proving that he's a crazy goddamn psycho.
And then you get mad at her because she followed you when literally not 2 hours earlier, this man, what's his name? Mace Windu was like, wait here. We will trust you if you do not leave this room. Let us go handle the Sith Lord. You just wait here. You were trying to be like, look, just wait here, Padme. It'll be fine. She does the same thing. You try to kill her.
Yeah.
And then you get mad at people because you disobeyed them. Sir. Also, you then defied the man that did that very thing. You defied the man that you defied people and threw him down the reactor.
Yeah, I mean, shit. You want me to get deeper? I could really tell you how like the whole Anakin arc is this fucking.
Anakin is a product of child molestation.
Yeah, because you got so somehow he reached an age to where I guess
we've been dating since I was in like middle school. She's definitely still like 10, 15 years your senior.
Yeah, she don't know be your mom, son.
And you just like, but it doesn't matter because I'm 18 now.
Yes, yeah, like you MILF stalking motherfucker. Well, not MILF. She was a MILF then. She became a MILF. But yeah, no, you were chasing cougars. She was a fucking cougar.
What I said to anybody, right? This is the reason why I don't take life that serious. Because if I did, I would not enjoy a single thing. Because everything has these flaws. Because nobody thinks about every little detail.
Yeah, no, George Lucas, you kind of nasty for that Padme Anakin thing, because he was barely legal and she fucking with him. She was like leering at him and shit. Like, ooh.
She was like a teenager. It's like the idea of like the babysitter you had a crush on as a kid,
right?
you ends up becoming like you end up dating each other and then marrying each other. Like it's still weird.
That's nasty. Like you were literally 6 years old when she met you, son.
And no, to all those out there, that does not mean Anakin's a player. That's creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Don't.
That is creepy.
Because like you know the difference to everybody out there be like Anakin's a player. If she was already like 40 something, y'all be calling like, huh? Why is this 40-year-old woman messing with this 6-year-old child?
She's the teacher that you hear in the news that's fucking kids.
You see, how old was she in the first Star Wars movie? I just need this.
She was supposed to be a teenager. She was supposed to be something like 15. So she was about 10 years old. I believe there's like at least a 10-year gap.
Oh, I know plenty of people that have dated 10 years, yeah, but there's a difference between when you're like, hey, my parents are 10 years apart, and they didn't meet until like
the random meet. Not I remember like, I used to like babysit you when you're a child. Now stick your dick in me. Like what?
Yeah, like that's where it becomes weird. Is like when it goes. It's like everybody has that joke. Like, yeah, I was when you were going into middle school. I was 3 years old.
Yo, I just thought about it. Padme's fucking Roy Moore writing books about when I saw him at 15, I just knew.
And to everybody out there that thinks the Jedi was wrong now, the Jedi was trying to protect Anakin. No, you don't. You don't need love. No, you don't need to get married. No, you shouldn't be doing all this. Like, we not trying to arrest a senator. I'm gonna need you to. She's a senator. Oh my God! Just see the connection. I just saw the connection. Black. I'm sorry.
What? That she's
Roy Moore ran for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's Roy fucking Moore. She's a politician that was chasing the kids.
You know, everybody's so mad. So many. What do you mean? Star Wars is the greatest. Star Wars is fine.
Huh? No, it has its flaws. It's great. It like the stuff that's great about it is fucking phenomenal. But it's not a flawless thing. It was never a flawless thing. That's why I was like, for all the flaws that this movie may have in your mind, if you try to actually look at it from an entertainment thing, it's a good movie. If you look at it from the perspective of where it fits in the universe, you can see the places where it fits in the universe. You also see where it's taking the universe in a different direction, and that it's actually expanded upon it. But you're just wanting the same old shit. It's the same thing I say about people with any other medium. You complain about how everything's the same, nobody takes risks. When somebody takes a fucking risk and you don't like it, you want the old stuff back. And it's like, it can't work that way. You got to give people creative license to like try to make something work. Again, if I were that person, all the fucking Marvel movies are trash in my mind because it's not traditional to the comic books. Those characters aren't one-on-one comparisons to their characters. They've changed the Civil War. That don't make it a bad movie. I mean, it was still a great movie, but the Civil War that you saw on film wasn't the Civil War that you read in comic. Just like Infinity War isn't going to be the Infinity War that you read in comic books. But for some reason, it seems like people are willing to accept certain things, but don't accept and I think that was my biggest issue with the complainers. It was like you were able to accept so much bullshit in the other movies. Now you can't accept something that you find to be bullshit in this movie. I could see if it were a really, I could see if they did things that were abusive in a way that's just like, yeah, this is just totally nonsensical. But nothing was necessarily nonsensical. It was different, but it wasn't necessarily nonsensical. And I think that's the thing. Most people just don't like it because it's different.
I got most of what I need to say out.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're gonna do another theory cast because we did that for the last one.
I was thinking, are we gonna do a theory cast?
I don't know. Like theory cast would be us just making up stories. Next one.
Well, yeah, and that's what I like about this one is that if you were to do a theory cast, take all your theories with a grain of salt because you honestly don't know what
y'all out there that were trying to figure out who Snoke was. To all those,
and I'm sure, like I said, we get like some back stuff on Snoke, but I think Snoke did what he needed to do, which was he put Kylo in the place that Kylo needed to go to start the ball rolling.
He lightens it up.
Yo, that shit was funny because he's like saying that shit, and I'm looking at the lightsaber like, dude, you ain't even paying attention. You like, you're so like, fucking wrapped up and
so
like
manipulative. It's the like de facto the spot, like the blind spot right in front of you is the one that you're gonna ignore.
Yeah, I hate to be using this as a reference again, but it's that guy who abuses his woman and thinks that she will never leave no matter what the fuck he does to her, and then all of a sudden, babe. Where you babe? Where are you? Babe, what? Like you don't see it coming, but it's coming for you. You just think it's not because you think that you're that good at what you do. Especially makes it even better that Kylo's a psycho motherfucker. It's like you really thought this psycho motherfucker was going to continue.
My issue is to corrupt him away from his former master, who he almost killed on the spot. You really think? Like, my issue is, it's one thing if you manipulate it a little bit, but if you cultivate a relationship between him and this girl, you really don't think he gonna be like, I'm just saying, can we let go? Look, we talking about abusive relationships. There's no reason that Kylo Ren and Rey should ever be together. I don't want it. Don't do it. I will fight you.
Yeah, that should never.
That is not.
And I don't think that's what they were leaning to. I think people...
It just was, like Kylo was a little bit sometimes like, dude, like, I'm gonna need you to come, especially after he made the point that she was nobody. If it's your little sister, then I get it. Like, if she's his little sister, then all of a sudden it's like big brother protective, overly, yeah.
No, you know what I saw it as, and we'll start to wrap this up because we're gonna go along if we keep it. You know what I saw their like thing is, I didn't see it as a lust thing or anything like that. I saw two people who felt like they needed to find someone who understood them and
I can agree.
Understood their place and helped, because like, you got Rey who was abandoned. She knows it, but she doesn't want to believe that. She wants to believe that like there is some connection out there for her, and Snoke gave her that connection with Kylo. She's like, is this a connection like that I've been waiting for?
I feel like he like that went like sometimes the way he would look in, he was not looking just like you are somebody, the person that understands me in this world, like the one person whose story and who has given me a chance to be understood. And like, what happened to all the other kids that you stole from Luke? There's so much. I'd be getting mad about.
Yeah, he probably killed him because like they probably was like, don't you think that's a little far? I kill you, because that's like when you see his reaction when they're on the battlefield. He's like, no, murder him, kill them all. Yeah, don't stop. Kill him. Like
he's so like he'd be going 0 to 100. He'd be like, look, will you be my friend? He'd be like, look, friend's a strong word. I will kill you.
Yeah, he's the word. He's the nightmare date guy. He's ready to get married on date one. And if you're like, well, I'm just checking out my options. No, I am the option, bitch. What do you mean options? What? Like he's that psycho. He's fucking goddamn psychopathic.
I mean, but at least people came away from this movie not saying that he's just a windy bitch. That was what they said about him in the first movie. He just whined and cried and whined and got angry and threw temper tantrums the entire first movie.
The funny thing is, he kind of still was.
Yeah,
his whining became more rage. That's all. It was like after dude told him, "Yo, you ain't your fucking grandfather. You ain't shit." And he finally he was like, "You know what? I'm tired of all this shit." That was the breaking point. He's like, "Yeah, I'm getting tired of this."
I find that funny. It's like I just picture him being like, "I kill you. Don't say that. It did to me."
Right. So now he's
nothing about Snoke. Snoke, you didn't realize after this man literally worships Darth Vader, and you just told him you're no Vader. He ain't gonna be a little bit mad about it.
Yeah.
Like
Snoke, he was a little too fucking egotistical for his own good.
I want to know what Snoke's plan was.
I just think that he thought that he was just gonna rule the world, and like Kylo's just gonna be his bitch boy forever. And
my issue is like, if you got that type of force power, my man at the beginning of the movie was flipping the Hux back and forth every different way that he wanted to.
I think if his body wasn't fucked up, he probably would have, because you never saw he just was
set there.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. He was just like he had the power, but he couldn't physically
like that.
He couldn't do the physical arm, so he was just like, "Yeah, go ahead. You know, you do my dirty work for me." You know, yeah, that backfired on him. He saw.
But yes.
But one last thing to say. Another reason why I'm glad they killed Snoke is that again, we don't need the Emperor arc again.
Correct. I agree.
We don't.
I just want some more information.
Yeah, I would like to know more about his
background. My man was on the throne and he was like, "Yo, Kylo, I'm keeping this warm for you."
Yeah. Oh, damn. Last thing I forgot. We need to know where the Knights of Ren are or what happened to them. I'm
gonna bet. My opinion is, I bet money they were the guards that they killed.
Probably.
You're probably talking that. About supposedly,
but it's like, are they just the knight? Are those the only knights, or are they
more? He took what, 6 with him, I thought, or something like that. I forget how many he took, but I feel like if you're talking about the most elite people in the galaxy, then like to me, partially trained Jedi babies turned into warriors would be pretty strong contenders.
Yeah,
and it was also kind of cool because they each had different weapons. Look, George Lucas. Or JJ or whoever.
Ryan Johnson.
I need more of that. Like, and no, I don't need Finn and Phasma fighting again. Man, if Phasma's, people keep saying Phasma's not dead. I'm like, look, they killed everybody else off in the movie.
I don't think she's dead either.
I don't see the issue in them killing her off. What is her point?
Yeah, I will say that Phasma kind of don't have a point.
That's what my issue is.
Other than being like that, like I guess the foil for Finn to break free. I think they gave him his break free moment, was he killed her, or supposedly killed her. They don't need to go back to.
They tried to make the point of like her armor is special and blah blah blah. And you just see her fall through the floor. She doesn't die. If she can come back, Darth Maul can come back. Mace Windu can come back. Bring them all back.
I won't be mad if she does come back. Like you have her just in a different suit.
I'm still angry. They killed off the only black Jedi. They got to bring Mace Windu back if they bring Fat. Samuel already said that he down for it. Let my man do it. Bring back the lean lightsaber.
Well, you know what they did where they fucked up at, right?
What?
Casting Donald Glover in the Solo movie. Because he could have been the fucking black Jedi in the next series.
I don't get why, if you was going, you want to have Lando Calrissian's kid, just make him Donald Glover. Just let it happen.
Yeah, he should have just like.
Nobody will question it. Everybody loved I was gonna call him Gambino, Donald Glover, and feel like he's on top of the world now with Atlanta and his albums and his hip hop and his R&B and his whatever he do, he touch it, it's gold.
Yeah, so he could have been the black Jedi. I guess you can make Chadwick Boseman.
Nah, like I'm against.
Hey, that would be kind of actually cool if he's a Jedi.
I'm sorry, I'm against the whole like. We don't need Chris Evans. We don't need a Ryan Reynolds. Somebody plays like multiple people across multiple series owned by. Nah, we good. We good.
Why not? If you're like, you're familiar. Like, what's that necklace you wearing with the?
My man was My man was Green Lantern, Deadpool, and who else? All in the same year. Same with Chris Evans. Chris Evans is the Human Torch and Captain America.
Hey, look. Yeah, it's funny because me and a friend were talking about that too. It's gonna be the weird moment when you see Captain America meets the Human Torch eventually.
Nah, they just enough to make the black dude. That still annoys me. Y'all
no, but it's like it's funny because you can see that happen twice. You can see new Human Torch meet Captain America, and then other Human Torch meet Captain America.
Nah, they're not gonna do that.
I mean, he's in Wakanda. He's gonna have to like run into what's his name eventually.
Nah,
walk by the jail like, hey, what's up? You look familiar. So do you.
Nah.
Flame on.
Nah. I would love if also it's like they're filming extra scenes for Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity War. Like I want them to do that just to be like, look, we're throwing the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in here because
they are. I guarantee you, not for the
they'll be
first
in the
one,
second one. Yeah,
but I guarantee you the second one, fucking Reed Richards is going to show up in that goddamn shit.
I'm gonna be mad about that though. Like, also Marvel, T'Challa better be smarter than Tony Stark. You better make him smarter than Tony Stark because he is smarter than Tony Stark. He is. People will say he's third. I don't give. He's in the top 3. I don't care if you're not gonna give me Reed Richards, and you better give me Tony Stark.
Yeah, no, I think he is. I think Black Panther, which is the next big movie event for me, by the way.
We've gotten through
Black
so
Panther.
many.
Oh my god, I can't wait for that shit.
Nah, it's gonna be bad.
February 16th. Let's go.
It's gonna be like a Tyler Perry movie where it's bad, but all the black people say it's good.
Nah, it's not. It's Ryan Coogler, dude. He made me like Creed. I wasn't trying to see Creed when I saw those goddamn previews. I was like, oh, they're making another Rocky movie. Then I saw Creed and I was like,
Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry, bro.
No, this is you're talking about somebody who's actually got skill and talent.
Hey, he lived out of his car and made millions.
Yeah, he definitely did. You know,
I like how you're like
right in the same. No, those are facts. No, it's true.
But that does not. I'm not saying.
That don't mean that he's necessarily.
No, it just took the.
Yeah.
It just took people a few years to realize that Diary of a Mad Black Woman is literally every Tyler Perry film where the dark skinned dude is evil.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets in and she falls in love with the light skinned dude. And life is all dandy.
Love Jesus, treat your women right.
Did you go to church? Did you meet him at church?
And let him yell and curse as a tall ass wild black woman.
Obligatory shirtless scenes, along with him dressing up as a woman. The one time Medea is the one, him playing a woman character is the one thing that ties all of his movies together.
Yeah. Medea. Yeah.
You're from Atlanta too, or Georgia. You must love Tyler Perry and
anyway, so I think we're pretty much done with this because I'm just I'm
cutting the conversation because we could.
I'm done yelling, and you just brought up Tyler Perry, and
we be talking in
trying to connect me to him because we're both from fuck that shit. I don't claim him.
Shout out to Angry Black Film number 17 coming out next week.
Yeah, like your man ain't do this or whatever you call it.
Daddy's Girls.
Even his fucking titles are.
Daddy's Girls was pretty good. Daddy's Girls was pretty legit.
Same.
And again, I love Idris Elba in like pretty much anything that he's in.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to go against Idris. Even in bad movies, Idris is good.
All seriousness, Idris Elba has replaced Will Smith. Like,
oh my god, Idris needs to be like a fucking like Jedi hermit or something.
Idris is he already played Heimdall. Let my man be like the mentor of Mace Windu that is even more badass. That just show up just to do let's
okay,
go.
so that's what we doing in the origin story, right? The next one. We're doing the Mace Windu movie with Idris Elba as the master. And who's gonna play Mace?
We literally just told Disney, hey yo, do Black Panther but with Jedi. Just give us all black people.
But who's the Mace? Who's Mace? Okay, who's Mace?
Who would be who's a good young angry like who could do young Samuel L. Jackson? Because Samuel getting up there. And you gotta have Morgan Freeman in that movie as well at some point.
That's a good question. We got to figure out who could be a Mace.
Who is the new young angry black character? Do you do what's the villain in his dude always plays the black villain people now, or plays like he does a pretty good job. Not Brandon Jackson, but Brandon Jackson does a decent job.
Yeah.
The dude is playing the evil dude in Black Panther. You think he could pull it off? I don't know if he's willing to shave his head though.
Oh, Brandon?
That's not Brandon, Jake.
Not Brandon. You're talking about Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan also does a pretty good job. Michael B. Jordan be underrated.
No, he's a very talented dude. I mean, it's funny because you look at all the roles, he's just like, God damn, you can do damn near anything.
Yeah.
Who would have thought fucking what's his name from The Wire?
I don't remember. I
Would be
don't.
that time.
Wire
Was he
before
Wallace?
my time.
I forget his
Wire
name.
was slightly before my time, sir.
Yeah, no, most people don't realize that's where he got his debut. He was one of the kids in season.
I know that, but The Wire came out from 2002 to 2008. I was in
Really? It was
8th
that
grade.
old?
Yeah, it's almost a decade since The Wire ended.
We're about 10. We're near 10 years.
I was what? I was 8 when The Wire came out, and I was 14 when it ended. I'm 23, about to be 24.
Man, I feel older now. I didn't think The Wire was that old.
Yeah.
Damn it. Shit.
Yep. Wow, that is 9.3 on IMDb.
What?
The Wire does.
Oh, that shit still holds up. It's fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I don't care what anybody says, season 2 was good too. Y'all just mad because it didn't focus on the hood. That's all. Get over it.
Wow, what you trying to say?
No, it's the truth. Because everybody I know who seriously hates season 2 are black and don't like the fact that they didn't keep it just in the hood. They went and had some white people on the docks working with them. But it tied
2002.
Shit.
It was the first episode of The Wire. Last episode was March 9th, 2008.
Fuck. That's just been off air almost 10 years. I didn't think it had been
Next March. We are 3 months away from it being 10 years since The Wire ended.
That just fucking fucked me up right there.
But
let's I didn't know The Wire was that old. All right, let's just go ahead and we'll have this discussion later. All right, well, thank you to everybody who watched this. I hope you appreciate it. Sorry if I pissed you off, but I had to say certain things and get it off my chest. Now I feel better. I can do like most normal people. When you have an opinion, say it. Just don't harp on it. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with people.
Like Star Wars: The Last Jedi, spoiler discussion. The best Star Wars movie ever! Exclamation point! Question mark! Exclamation point! Question mark! In all caps. There you go. YouTube title done.
I'd pick something a little simpler than that, but I could always change it. I could definitely change it just to fuck with people.
We are like Sith. Feel your hatred. Fuel our like button.
I kind of like that much of a dick to want to do some shit like that too. I really do, because I really I understand like having different opinions and not liking it, but I just think that some lengths that people go through are just too much. You just don't like the movie.
I just thought about the entire side of the conversation we didn't even get to because I don't want to.
What?
This is Star Wars SJW edition. That was something I saw a lot of about this movie, and I'm like, all right. The internet, you're done. You don't understand the word.
Yeah, the whole campaign against Rose and people with the racist shit.
But with that said and done, this movie did give us Mark Hamill telling Ted Cruz to shut the fuck up and not knowing Star Wars. So, again, I'm going to stop naming stuff. This movie only continues to give good. Did you see that?
What?
Look up Mark Hamill and Ted Cruz.
Oh. I have to look that up.
Just look it up. It is the best thing ever. Because Mark Hamill basically hit Ted Cruz with the you have known nothing about Star Wars. You're wrong and shut up.
Yeah, I have to see that because Mark Hamill's been killing on his Twitter lately anyway. But yeah, I like that SJW. Wow, racist much? Because I can have a whole conversation on the social justice warrior bullshit alone, but I'm gonna leave that there and save the rest of my rage because hey, it is what it is. Y'all be idiots if you want to be idiots.
Yep.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. If we do a theory cast, I'll let you know. Theory cast will probably be about 5 hours since this was almost 3.
Forever because it's just a matter of. I already spent 5 hours today rewriting this movie and working on the next one. I already got ideas. It would be super long.
Yeah, I think we both have probably got treatments that can be re-edited themselves.
Because then you gotta, once you get to the end of the next movie, you got to get into what's the next trilogy going to do, even if it's disconnected, and where's the expanded universe, and how many Netflix series are they going to put out?
Oh, that's right, because they're talking about the TV show. It's not going to be a Netflix
I will bet
series.
you money.
It's going to be on the Disney channel. God damn it! I gotta get another subscription to something. Fuck you, Disney.
Just look if Disney has something online.
Goddamn overlords! I'm gonna have to get that shit. I have to. Fuck. Because now they control the world.
Let me see. What other properties have they not gotten yet? Do they have Star Trek?
Hold up. What company? Because I'm trying to think. What company did produce Star Trek? Hold up.
Did Fox produce Star Wars? I would love if Fox did, or Star Trek, and Disney got Star Trek from Fox.
I need to look this up now and see what studio did the Star Trek.
Are we just going with the movies?
No, I'm talking about everything. No, I think that's Paramount.
Oh well, Paramount.
Yeah, it's Paramount. It's Paramount Television. Paramount did the movies. Okay, so because I was about to say, God damn it, they do own everything. Okay, so Paramount still has that. So Paramount.
That's another. We could have an entire conversation about Disney and what they do own.
Yeah, because I mean they got 20th Century Fox. They have like a lot of shit.
Don't forget, they already own. They bought out Pixar and all that stuff. So they own the cartoon side of things.
Yeah, they own cartoon.
Marvel. And the way DC is trending, I'd be surprised if they didn't. If some other company didn't buy out DC.
I don't think they're gonna.
DC Rebirth's really good.
I don't think they're gonna be. Holy shit! 20th Century Fox has a lot. Okay, they own the Alien franchise. They own the Die Hard series. They own MASH. What the fuck, MASH?
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes.
X-Men and Fantastic.
Actually, Simpsons. They might do own the right to the Simpsons. I was thinking they didn't because they were doing that on a TV show. But shit, the Predator series.
Can I laugh about the fact
they own the Kingsman series?
I was gonna say, can I laugh about the fact that Fox were the people that produced the Phantom Menace episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm most excited about, by the way, for the third movie.
What?
We're getting our fanfare back.
Man, we'll see.
I need to know. They're gonna, Disney is gonna be like, we got this shit. We own this shit.
Do you think Disney's gonna pay the big bucks for Will Smith? No, they cut him off in the second one. So
oh, I didn't know that. I didn't really care.
Don't worry. No.
It's not a spoiler.
Bad. First of all, the movie.
It's not a spoiler.
But they literally, I didn't watch the movie.
Oh, that's right, because he had died before, and then his son or whatever.
No, his son runs it, but they basically said that his son was his.
Yeah, like he died in an airplane.
The ace pilot died
in the accident,
testing out the new tech. I'm like, he flew one of the alien motherships. If anybody,
wow, they own Goosebumps.
There's a lot of things they should not touch. Kung Fu Panda. How to Train Your Dragon.
No, but I can see them bringing back a Goosebumps TV show. I would love that.
That would be dope.
I would very much love that.
They did the Digimon movie, actually. Fox did. Interesting. All right, yeah, we're still rattling.
We're rattling on because we're nerds. This is what it used to be like. We used to do podcasts on the regular people. So you used to watch our old podcast. You already know this. Anyway, again, we'll try this again. Shit. Oh, fuck. Anyway, we'll have this discussion after. Thank you again for watching. Please stay tuned. We may do a theory cast. We may not. I kind of want to wait instead of just diving into a theory cast. I actually want to do one. I kind of want to wait because I wanted to probably see it a second time so I could solidify something. By the way, funny story. We went to a 5:15 showing. The movie let out around 8:05, right? Mm-hmm. There was a 7:30 showing next door. And me and my friend was sitting there like, we only missed the first half hour. That don't really
just duck in really quickly.
It's like what we have missed, we missed the bombing thing. We knew about the bomber and all of that and things like that. We didn't really get to the story really jumping off and the whole thing. So we could have fucking watched it. But I was like, no, let's just go. So we started walking, but we kept saying, should we? And then we saw this like security guard who looked like Big Shirley and was like, nah. And it's kind of funny because as we were walking, I told the story before on another on the blog, but as we were walking, we both were silent, and then we both saw it. And my friend was just silent. And before that, we were talking. I was like, no, well, I know they probably wouldn't care if we like went into the place anyway. And then when I saw the guard, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, she probably would care. And then I noticed the guard looks up and was like looking at me like, huh? I'm like, oh shit, she heard me. And my friend busted out laughing because she's like, yo, you said that out loud. But I was sitting there thinking the exact same thing when I saw her. I was like, yeah, with that gun on this side, I ain't playing with her. So
yeah. I went to the small theater as opposed to like the really popular one, the oldest theater. And so they just had a dude at the door, like when you walked out. Because I'm not gonna lie, I left at one point in the movie because I had to go use the bathroom. Because 3-hour movies, if you start drinking at the top of the hour,
see, that's the thing. I don't eat, drink when I'm going to see something I really want to see.
That movie, look, what point I left when I missed maybe 5 minutes, if that, from where they finished up with the plane stuff and when like they landed. I saw them land. I saw them say, "Hey, we're trapped," and I was like, "All right, I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be back. Y'all aren't gonna go anywhere. Y'all'll be okay." And I got back as they're like riding out on, like getting ready to ride out on the last attack and defense. And I'm like, "All right, cool." I just missed the conversation.
No, I did. In fact, I hadn't eaten that whole day because I worked all day and I was like, didn't have time to take a break. So I had no food, no drink for like a good 10 hours leading into going to see the movie. I didn't care. I wanted to see the movie. Fuck it. I wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't missing anything. And then afterwards, I went and got me something to eat. And I was like, fuck it. I'm good now. But yeah. That movie was brilliant. Taking it away from Star Wars, it was a brilliant movie. Putting it in Star Wars, it was a brilliant movie. That's just how I feel. But yeah. Right. So it's that. So yeah, let's try to reconvene in about a week and do a theory cast. Because I'm sure we all have a lot of things. And as time goes on, I'm going to start thinking of other, because I've already been thinking of like other possibilities and things that are going to occur in this film. Just sitting here talking to you. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta find something.
But yeah, make sure to hit the like button. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you hate it, hit the dislike button. Because fuck it. You know, I have no problem with you giving your opinion. You could say all the nasty things you want in the comment section. I ain't gonna pay attention to them anyway. So have at it. No, I haven't gotten to the point like where when it comes to comments on things, that's fine. You feel the way you feel. I'm not gonna sit here and like go back and forth on you, because if I don't think you're trying to have a real discussion, what the fuck I want to talk to you about for? You just trying to be like fucking an asshole. Yeah, it's fine. I'll let you have your victory. You know?
True.
So whatever. But all right, we're out of here. 3 hours is enough. I actually haven't eaten. Yeah. So I need to eat food too. So we'll see you next time. Say peace to the people you're all, or give them, plug on all your stuff as well.
Oh, I stream over on twitch.tv/YoruStrix if you want to come. Yes. January 1, we're going to start it. We're going to go back to streaming every single day. I've been taking it easy for the month of December. Daily videos on YoruStrix on YouTube in the new year as well. I'm not coding myself to that, but I'm going to say that. And maybe we get into a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be expanding beyond just anime on YouTube and doing comics and Star Wars and any and everything that interests me. So if you're interested, come through, because it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the links to all this stuff will be in the description.
And Black and I will probably, even if it's not Star Wars, we probably end up talking about something in the near future.
Again, like I said, next big thing for me is fucking Black Panther, and then
you say
May got the Infinity War.
You not seeing New Mutants?
Actually, I'm interested in New Mutants, but I won't say that's a big event for me.
Yeah,
it's kind of gotten bigger now that Fox don't own it, can control it.
Wow. Well, the movie's already done. So.
The
movie's already done, right? So
yeah, I understand, which is fine. So I'm curious to see the last devastation of the X-Men universe.
Wow, the last devastation.
by Fox. I'm going to see the last piece of trash that they throw out. If it's bad, if it's good on you. You actually did right. I mean, you did a Logan, you got a Deadpool, and if this is good, hey, you got 3 super solid things. The rest of the stuff, for the most part, let's just say that even the stuff that seemed good at one point don't hold up. So good on you. At least you did something right in your ownership of the X-Men franchise. That's the best I can give you.
So positive.
Fuck you, Fox, and fuck Fox News. You should have got rid of that shit too.
All right, let's go.
Disney should have bought it just to trash it. All right, I'm done. I'm done ranting. I'm hungry, tired. See you guys later. Peace.
Peace.